Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with the 7th video in our Platinum Trophy Guide for Bloodborne. In the last video we had made it through the Forbidden Woods and Bergenwerf at the same time, and had unlocked a area we had already been to, but now we can actually enter, and that is Yahar'gul, the Unseen Village. Now, I'm sure just in the background you can see that there's some things that are probably sticking out quite a lot, and that is the amygdalas or lesser amygdalas that are just hanging out on the walls. Like always though, I'm going to show you guys how to progress through each area and to grab anything of importance along the way. Now, first off, most of the enemies in this area are kind of somewhat respawnable, as there are these unique maidens in cloaks that ring bells and can summon certain enemies infinitely. Now, if you think that that's a good idea to farm, then by all means go ahead. But for the most part, once you take out those maidens, it will weaken the enemies that have already been summoned instead of just making them disappear like in other areas. So you can still then kill them and get the blood echoes. But from here, we're just going to leave the lantern, follow this down. Now the first one that can be found is going to be up here on this higher ledge. Taking her out, like I said, will allow you to then go and defeat the others. Now coming down here, you're going to have to come off to the left first, as that door is unlocked or locked and can't be opened from that side. So you'll just have to come in here and then follow this around. And then coming down here, you'll have this unique area. Now, just off to the left, right here, right in front of this fountain, is a bloodstone chunk. And then from here, if you immediately come over here to this railing, drop down, find some frenzied cold blood. But coming in here, what you're actually wanting to do is, as you'll see, you're going to drop down into here, and this will allow you to grab the upper cathedral key, which we will also tackle in this video. Now coming out here, you're then going to have this chest, which will have the tiny tonitrus. This is another hunter tool, which we almost have all of them. As you can see, we only have 2 more that we have to grab. But anyways, coming out here, you're going to follow this back around, and you're going to end up exactly where we just were. Now don't worry, most of the lesser amygdalas don't attack you. There are a few that do, as you're about to see, and this is probably the most annoying one, as trying to deal with the enemies in this actual courtyard right here and progress while having this guy shoot at you, as you'll see, is a bit annoying. But best case scenario is just avoid where his laser is going. Then from here you can come down and make it to your next lantern. As you're probably aware, this area is quite familiar to where we were earlier in the series. We're pretty much close to where that area was. As always, from the lantern, you're going to follow this path. Just out here you'll find a wandering nightmare that will drop some bloodstone chunks. Then coming over here, dropping down this railing, you can take out 1 enemy. Then 2 dogs should be right below you. Then if you come over here, you should have one of those bell maidens. Taking her out will allow you to kill the enemies here. Now, when exploring this area, I highly recommend doing so, especially if you haven't already. You will now be able to go through and fight a couple of enemies. Now, I'm going to show you just where to go to find Dark Beast Parl. But coming down the steps here, taking the path I specifically have taken, you can come into this basement and come through here and out the back. And coming outside here will lead you to Dark Beast Parl. Now you will have to beat him, because that will get you a trophy and a badge for a weapon that you will need to grab. It will get you the tonitrus right here. But anyways, as we continue, now from here what we're going to do is head up. And then in the middle of this room, if you haven't grabbed it already, is the moon rune. Now we're just going to head outside and follow this path off to the right. Now if you've been here before, you will now know that this door is open and you can now go through it. Before, if you came here early, it's closed and you can't go to this part. Now, like I said, I would highly recommend exploring this part. Now, as you'll see, to be careful of these enemies here, it's best just to run in a zigzag kind of line to avoid most of them attacking or landing hits on you, as you'll see. And then now we are in the boss arena, as you can see. Alright, now once ready, you'll enter the boss arena. Now I'm going to skip or split this boss fight into two parts. The first part is something I'll probably be able to skip once if I die afterwards. But the first part is you're just going to want to make your way upstairs here and take out all 6 of these Bell Maidens. As you'll see, they're basically healing the One Reborn. So you have to take them out in order to actually win the fight. But once you take out the first 3, you'll then be able to come across and then take out the next 3 as well. 6 in total. Now from here I can skip to part 2. Alright, so now for part 2 you're just going to actually fight the boss. As you'll see, whenever you normally come back down from being up top, he will be trying to land body parts onto you, like such. Now, if you can actually get him to land on the ground, as you'll see, you can get a bunch of damage done onto him. Now, as well as that, you will also have to deal with the body parts kicking you all the time, and him also meleeing you, or trying to melee you. What I found to be best is just simply trying to bait him into getting his body parts into certain spots, like so. That way you can run into the middle here and then just deal some damage. Now you can also come to his back here for some reduced damage, as you'll see, and then you can knock him down, hit him in the face for maximum damage. Now if done right, you can kind of continuously stagger him, and then he will go down just like that. And that is the One Reborn boss. You'll get a new crafting item. You'll then get a new lantern. But for the sake of things, we're going to actually head all the way back to the cathedral ward. So I'll see you there. Alright, back here at Cathedral Ward, you're just going to head up the right area, take the elevator up. You're going to basically follow the same path as if you're going to get the Ludwig Holy Sword badge. So you're just going to come up here into the Healing Church Workshop and basically just head all the way to the top. Come off to the left and head inside. Here's where you'll get the badge. And then using the key that we found in the cell in Yahar'gul, you can now open this door and reach the upper cathedral ward. Now upon entering this area, you will get a trophy, and that will allow you to reach the choir. Now, for the sake of things, I'm just going to run past these enemies and grab the lantern. Because for some reason I had already taken them out, but they somehow respawned, which is kind of weird. So, from this lantern, you're just going to, once again, follow the path that I take. Now, you'll have a new enemy type in this area here, these little lesser great ones that can inflict frenzy on you, which is just wonderful. Now, coming off to the left here, you'll have one of those scythe-wielding church enemies. Now, coming inside here, you will have one of those weird alien-robed guys who like to try and grab you and then suck your inside out, guarding this church choir garb set. Now, coming in here, you can come all the way down to the right first, or we'll come back for it later. But you're going to come off to the left here. Then you can only head one way, and that is down. Coming down here, a lantern will fall, and these three guys here will try and attack you. Now, immediately at the bottom of the stairs, if you make a U-turn and come back here, you'll find this side area here. And here you'll find your next badge, the Cosmic Eye Watcher badge. This will give you a new pistol. Then from here, you're just going to have to come to the opposite end and come over here to the right-hand side or left-hand side of the stairs. Coming back here. Now, you'll have this wandering nightmare here that is going to try and lure you into this room where you'll have one of these guys right here try to grab you and just surprise you. Now, from here, just going to head on up. You can come over here, but first I recommend, once you climb up the ladder, I suggest you quit out of the game and reset the enemies. That way their aggro is despawned. Then you can come down this hallway fairly safely, and then you can get your first shortcut right here, right next to this guy who is guarding this corpse right here with a pearl slug, which we are going to need. Now come down the hallway we just went down, and then right here you'll have two more of the weird alien dudes. Now you will have to kill, I guess, both of them to progress, because the one who's chilling down here will give you the orphanage key. Now from here you want to come outside and talk to this guy to get the make contact gesture. Seeing if I can try and get my gestures up. Now, how I access this is touching the bottom left of the touchpad. So we're just going to equip that. Now from here we're just going to head down to the left, as you'll see. And we'll be back where we had started beforehand. Not sure what this guy's on about. But anyways, do note that these wolves can drop bloodstone shards, and I think bloodstone chunks, if I got lucky. Anyways, now from here you're just going to come back downstairs. And then you can now come over to here and open up this big door. And here you'll get some Ritual Blood 5. Now from here, just right in front of you, is a shortcut all the way back to the start. And you'll find some Frenzied Cold Blood 9. As you'll see, heading out right here, we have the lantern. Now from here, you're just going to follow this path up to the right. And this will lead us to our next boss fight. Here you'll actually have a weird alien guy. This will be kind of a warning or a sign for the boss. But once you're ready here, we can enter the boss arena. As you can see, you can walk pretty much almost all the way in before you actually start it. Now, once ready, you'll just enter, and you'll see the Celestial Emissary. Now, this boss is a little bit different than normal. As you'll see, you'll have a bunch of these who are trying to rush you, and then you'll have one here who's kind of just trying to avoid you. You'll know it's the right one because he's this docile one right here. And he doesn't have a separate health bar like these guys. Now, for the most part, what is going to happen is he is just going to simply try and stay away as long as he can. Can be a bit annoying because you're trying to get in here and do some damage to the guy. But then you got all of these lesser guys coming in. Now, at about half health, he will transform into a bigger version of himself. And he actually does hurt quite a lot now. But he'll still continue to summon these guys. Probably the biggest part of this boss fight isn't even the boss itself, it's just the fact that it's more of a gank. It'd be nice if just after you get him to transform, he stops summoning them, which I think he eventually does. Nope. Try not to die here. But if you can target him and get him out of the way, that is nice, and you'll get the communion rune. Then we have our next lantern. Now I'm going to quickly head back to the Hunter's Dream and get some blood vials before we continue on to the next boss through this window here. Now then, from the lantern here, you're going to drop down, head inside, and here we have our next hunter tool, the Call Beyond. Now, as you can see, we have almost all of them. I think it's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have one more that we have to grab in the Nightmare of Mensis. Now do be careful of these two guys trying to ambush you. But from here you're going to take this elevator down. Now depending on what version of the game you were playing on, I always recommend sending this elevator back up. It's just going to be helpful. Because in earlier versions of the game, for some reason, if you didn't send the elevator back down, the switch wouldn't work to allow you to summon it back up, which was a little bit annoying, which meant you lost out on a boss fight just because. But from here we now have our next boss. That is going to be Abritus, Daughter of the Cosmos. Now then, when you first enter the boss arena, she is not even going to be hostile towards you, so you will have to get her to aggro onto you. Now for a good portion of the fight, you can kind of stay just on her side, as you'll see. But it's not exactly going to do you a lot of damage. Now, it's not until you get to the halfway point that it really becomes important. As you'll see, obviously hitting the head is going to be the most efficient. But just like that, she goes down. Now, you'll get 2 trophies for your trouble. You'll get the one for defeating her, and you'll get one for getting the Great Is Chalice. Here you will have a lantern, and over here on this altar, you can actually offer flesh. And basically what happened is we brought back the Vile Blood Queen in Canehurst. So now you can go back to her if you so choose to. But now from here we're going to end this video, but I will see you all at the event plaza where we fought the One Reborn in the next video. As always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I do hope these videos and guides are helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form. And as always, I will see you all in the next video.